My colleague and interview partner today is Sanjiv Pandita. He's living in Hong Kong and he's working for Solidar Suisse. Thanks for the opportunity to talk with you today.
Thanks for having me, Ivan.
So you are a long-term labor activist and coordinate Solidar Suisse activities in Southeast Asia. As we know, like these global supply chains are disrupted because of the coronavirus, and Southeast Asia as a global hotspot of production is also heavily affected of this disruption. Could you tell me what are the consequences for your work and how are you able to support workers and local unions in this situation, or we as Solidar Suisse?
As you know, Ivan, we have an office in Hong Kong, but we run a regional program, and most of our activities are outside Hong Kong, in Cambodia. Part of it is in Malaysia, Sabah, and other Asian countries. So one of the major disruption to our work has been we have not been able to travel at all. You know, for past 3-4 months or more, the travel has completely stopped. So it was an important part of our work to go and meet and visit partners, support them or understand what they're doing. But unfortunately, that has not been possible. So that's one of the biggest problem we have faced. But nevertheless, now what we have recognized, you know, in difficult times, you have to innovate. So we have been using more and more aids of social media as well as live chatting apps to communicate with the partners, including Zoom and what we are doing right now, Microsoft Teams and many other applications as may be possible. So with this, we are trying to understand what is the situation at ground. And of course, life is no more normal anywhere. I mean, in all the countries, you know, there is both impact from the virus as well as because of the disruptions in the supply chain, as you said, also the loss of employment, and which we will discuss in detail. It has caused huge problems across Asia.
So one of the big sectors, industrial sectors, is this garment textile industry, and here we get the news that fashion brands, global fashion brands like Zara, are canceling their orders, and that really already hundreds of thousands of the workers are losing their jobs in Bangladesh or Myanmar and Cambodia. We work together with local unions, like the Coalition of Cambodian Apparel Workers Democratic Union. Can you tell us how these workers are affected by the crisis? I mean, I guess they are very dependent on these salaries as well. So how is this life at the moment?
I can share examples from 2 countries, which can give you more representative sample or representative analysis. One is we work very closely in Cambodia, as you said, with coalition of Cambodian garment workers, Sikadu, and we have been supporting them for past few years now. Cambodia, thankfully, has not been directly impacted by the virus compared to many other countries. There have been very few cases, you know, which we also don't know if it is true because, you know, the testing is very low. But officially, the number of cases are less than 150, and there has not been any death till now. So in that sense, Cambodia has been safe from the virus, but the supply chain disruptions have been massive. Initially, it was the supply was stopped because, you know, the things, you know, it's actually a lot of production is done by the Chinese inside Cambodia. Most of or many of the garment factories are owned by the Chinese, and they couldn't get the raw materials from China because when China was in the deep epidemic of COVID. And later on, what happened was it was on the demand side. Like suddenly, many brands and many of these fashion symbols just cut the orders, as you said. They just stopped the orders, which was drastic, and workers, with that sudden termination of contracts, workers were not paid their wages, and thousands of workers have lost their jobs, and it is happening every day. It's not that it has happened in month of March, April, and now it has stopped. No, it's continuing every day. It's progressing every day, and we don't know how long it's going to happen. So when brands pulled out, and then there was a huge cry, a lot of consumer action groups, a lot of civil society organizations, trade unions, international trade unions, including the International Trade Union Council, ITUC, all of them did a very strong criticism of the brands. And in response, some of them then said, okay, what we will do is we will honor the existing contracts. So, it doesn't help because, brands are the ones who have the deepest pockets. They have made billions in profits from these poor workers. And what we are demanding, including our grassroots partners, is they have to take and they have to own up, they have to take up the responsibility of paying each and every worker layoff wages or wages till the production comes back. So there should not be any worker or his or her family that should go hungry because they couldn't work and they couldn't find work, because it's not a lot of money and they could easily pay it. But right now it's getting difficult. This was in Cambodia. Bangladesh is even worse because in Bangladesh, the number of workers is much larger. There's like more than 5 million workers. In Cambodia, it's around a million. But in Bangladesh, the problem of the virus is also very serious. So there is both sides. One, the workers are fearing that if they go back to work, they may get sick, and if they don't have work, they will they will die of hunger. So it's a very complex scenario here at the ground.
Is there any kind of state program or international coordination for this aid, or is this non-existent?
Okay. So at this moment, the things are so vast and so difficult, and in so many countries, a coordinated response is, there is a response at the state level. Different states are trying their bit to support the workers, but it's also very difficult in countries like Cambodia that money actually reaches to the workers. We know things don't work easily, even in normal time in countries like Cambodia or Bangladesh. And when it's so difficult, it's very difficult to reach out. uh, One of the major responsibilities, as we talked, and I want to reiterate it again, should lie, especially in the government sector, should lie on the brands, because for years they have made huge profits out of these poor workers. And this is the time they have to stand tall and pay back some of the profits they have made. Cut it would not make any difference to their profits if they pay at least the minimum wages or more to the workers, in this difficult time. And this would show us really, yes, they care about it, rather than, running away like cowards and meeks, just to save themselves. What they are doing right now is completely unethical and unprecedented. At the same time, we also want states or the governments and the local industries also to take up responsibility. The problem there is, at least government is kind of a semi-formal sector in both in Bangladesh as well as in Cambodia. There is also a huge informal sector, which is even further unprotected. They don't have anything. So the scale is massive for any government to be able to respond aptly. It needs, as you said, it completely needs a very coordinated response, both at the local, regional, and international level, which is missing right now because most of the people are still trying to fight out the disease right now.
Okay, and what when you say the global brands, is it can you tell us names? I mean, is this are we talking about 5 big brands that control this business, or is it
Absolutely. All Zara, Inditex, you can name them, H&M, Zara, they are all doing lip service, There has not been anything concrete on table right now which says that, okay, we are going to do this for the workers, we'll pay their wages. You see, that's not happening. Initially, after they, as I said, after they terminated the contracts prematurely, all they said they would do is to honor the existing contracts, which is nothing great, but some of them, like Primark and others, they're saying that they may provide some funds towards the wages of the workers. But we have not clear yet. It's not clear, who will get it, and it's not a very coordinated mechanism. The way they coordinate their supply chains, how they have to even get the buttons from one place. They're very meticulous in that. But when it comes to paying wages, or paying the rights of workers, then it's very uncoordinated. Nobody knows what to do. So that's actually the reality of the supply chain at this moment. When I have to extract profits, I would know exactly where to go and how to do it. And if I have to do something which will tell about my responsibility or protect the workers, then I don't know what to do.
Mm. And to put pressure on these brands, you think it's you would recommend consumers not buying anymore, or what would be your recommendation?
I think the problem right now, it's a more complex than that, Ivan, because right now consumers are not even buying, even if they want to buy. You see, the markets have been predominantly closed. One of the difficult part has been the demand has completely collapsed, because of the lockdowns. There is pressure. I mean, I think there has to be pressure from all sides, like Clean Clothes Campaign and many other civil society organizations, industry, all the big trade union and other trade unions are putting a coordinated pressure on on brands to have more, to respond and to pay their share of what they owe, basically.
Good. Thank you for the insights. And I hope there's a way for these workers to make a living in a better condition anyway, and to not more than surviving on a lowest incomes.
Yes, because I think now what is the learning for us, Ivan, is that it's not that things will change. That it's difficult. As Arundhati Roy has put very beautifully in one of her essays recently, is not that things are not bad now. We can't make things better after COVID because things were very bad and COVID just exposed it. So something needs to be changed structurally. We can't go back to normal. That's what she said. Because there was never a normal. What was happening was not normal. And this is the time. So things are bad right now. But I would take the silver lining is for us is that this is the time we change things structurally so that workers don't work in slave conditions anymore. There are decent jobs for everybody in future.